What is task initiation? Task initiation is an executive functioning skill. So this video is part of my executive functioning skill series, how to hone your executive functioning skills to get more things done. Executive functioning skills are that part of the brain that helps you get things done, and task initiation obviously is a huge part of executive functioning skills because it means starting the task. And we all know that the start of the task is usually the hardest part. And once you get started, it's easier for you to ride that momentum. Remember, an object at rest stays in rest, and an object in motion stays in motion. That's inertia. We learned that way in grade school. And this is so relevant to our motivation and our ability to get things done. If we are sedentary and don't do much, it is a huge gap, a huge jump to doing things. And so it's harder. We have a biological resistance to doing those things because we're not used to it. We're not in the mode. We're not in the inertia of movement and moving. So the first tasks after not doing things for a long time or not being motivated to do things for a while are the hardest. But once you start the task, it's a lot easier to keep going with the task. So in this video, we're going to talk about what happens if you don't have good skills in task initiation. Those might be obvious to you, but we're going to list them anyway. And then I'm going to tell you how to hone your skills in task initiation. Okay, what happens when you struggle with task initiation? You have a long list of things to do and you are overwhelmed by that list and you don't start everything. You're looking at it all as a big picture and you're like, I can't do this. And you're berating yourself over and over for being lazy or unmotivated or something's wrong with you or really, really tired. We feel really, really tired because when we are facing a task that we're not used to, that's not integrated into our daily lives, we have a biological resistance to that task and it makes us feel tired. Then we put meaning around that feeling tired, which really distracts us and takes our attention away from motivating ourselves to get the task done. What happens is that resistance and that meaning that you're making around it, why am I so tired? Why am I so tired? Actually functions like you're highly motivated to resist. So the more you resist and the more you're making meaning around that resistance, the more you're motivated to continue and defend that resistance. And we want to get out of that cycle. So not having good task initiation makes you feel overwhelmed, makes you feel stuck, makes you feel a lot of anxiety, and also makes you feel bad about yourself. You don't trust yourself. You don't think you could do anything. You start labeling yourself all of these negative things like unmotivated or lazy or unable to or unorganized or a mess. That is what happens when you don't have good skills in task initiation. Now, keep in mind that task initiation doesn't mean you're not good at doing the tasks once you start. It's just that you keep delaying the start. And what happens in our brain when we hesitate at all, our brain says something's wrong, she's hesitating, let's find the problem. And when your mind is looking for a problem, it'll find a problem. It'll spin whatever it can spin to create a problem. And so you don't want to give it the time to do that. The best way to have task initiation skills is to start without thinking about it. When you think about it, you hesitate, you release that adrenaline of that fight or flight hormone, and you look for a problem. You look for a reason, you create meaning around that delay, and then a lot of energy is going towards that, and no energy is going to the task initiation or the task itself. It is a lot of energy, and actually it exhausts you, and it takes that time and that energy away from what you really want to do. So we're assuming that the task that you want to do is something that you want. You either want to do the task because it's fun, or you want the result of that task, so you have to do the task to get the result. More real life consequences of not having good task initiation is that you let people down, and that strains relationships. You might miss deadlines, and this might have you miss opportunities of something that you would love or would really give you great things in the future. You also might have poor performance in school or poor performance at work. None of these are what you want. The good news is that task initiation is a skill that you could learn and you could hone. Here are 7 ways to build your task initiation skills. The first one is to break the task up into smaller steps. It may be hard thinking of the whole big picture and everything that you have to do, and it might be easier for your mind to do the first little task. Now, our mind always wants to resist any tasks that we think are hard or that we don't need for immediate gratification or for immediate survival. It wants us to delay it. It wants us to resist it. And we have to override that with our mammalian brain. And we can, but it makes it easier to out-trick the brain somehow. And this is one way to out-trick the brain, because it makes it easier for you to face something that's tiny instead of something that is so big. And the second way is to use a starter ritual. So open your notebook, look at your to-do list, write a to-do list so you know what you have to do and what order you have to do it. Maybe it's turning music on or sitting down at your desk. That kind of ritual tells your body and your mind that you are ready to get started. The third way is to set a timer. This is another way to out-trick your brain into thinking it's doing something easier, because if you just get started, you could keep going. So if you set the timer and the timer starts going off, you have to start without thinking about anything. And when you start without thinking about anything, then your mind can't jump in there and try to make you hesitate. Number 5, pair tasks with rewards. So if you say, I'll do this and then I'll get this. If I get this done, I'll go do this. So if you pair that task, something that you're doing, with something that you want, you're more likely to start that task faster so you could get it done and get what you want. Number 6 is my favorite. Have compassion for yourself. Now listen, when you hesitate and then you start making meaning around that hesitation, a lot of times we start thinking negatively about ourselves. And when we start thinking negatively about ourselves, it's a complete tangent away, sucking time, sucking energy away from our task. If you have compassion and you're more understanding with yourself, you don't have that leak of energy coming out there when you're beating yourself up. Number 7, get support if needed. I love co-working with other people. I love sitting around a table. We all have our own computers and we're doing our work together. It really motivates me to stay in the seat and keep working. And I do this with some of my other business owner friends online. We get on Zoom at a certain time. We spend 3 hours on Zoom and we check in halfway through. We tell each other what we're working on. We work on it on mute. We're both muted, but we're co-working. It's a huge benefit for me. And they also say it's a huge benefit for them to co-work together, because you stay in that chair and you get stuff done. So there you have it, task initiation. In this video, I talk about why you need this skill and how to hone it. If you want more from me, come on over to my website, jodiamon.com, where I have more articles and videos on how to open your heart, release fear, and be the person that you want to be. I'll see you next time, but you could watch this video next.